Fish love is love with attachment, a self-centered love. He says, the difference between true love and a relationship with attachment is that in a relationship with attachment, we care for others because we expect them to take care of us and give us something that we want or need. This is a tangent, but it occurs to me that this happens not only in romantic love, but in parental love. He continues, when we are attached to others, we have many expectations of them and don't see them as they really are. In reality, we are caring solely for ourselves. I describe this type of love as fish love, he says. If you say that you love fish, what usually happens? You eat it. So you see, you don't love the fish, you love yourself when you catch it, fillet it, fry it, and eat it. Therefore, a relationship based on attachment is similar to this fish love. Pali is the language the Buddha's teachings were first written down in. The Pali word translated as attachment is tanho, or thirst, which is also translated as desire or craving. It refers to that quality of clinging and grasping that is the first cause of suffering. The more attachment there is in your love for the other, the more ego there is, and the more self-centered the love is. I have a true story to illustrate fish love. It's a story told to me by our guide on safari in South Africa. He said that once there was a young couple from Germany that came on safari for their honeymoon. They landed at the airport, transferred to the lodge, and within an hour gathered to go with the guide on a walking safari. The guide gave them clear safety instructions about what not to touch, about what to do if you encountered a lion. He said, if you encounter a lion, whatever you do, don't run and scream. Stand still. And he repeated, don't run and scream. Well, they encountered a lion, and they both ran and screamed in direct contradiction to his instructions. The young woman was in front. She got to a large tree first and climbed up it. Then when her new husband got there, she reached down her hand to give him help getting up the tree. He grabbed her hand, yanked her down to the ground, and stepped on her on his way up the tree to take her place. Fish love, right? Luckily, the lion lost interest and wandered off. The bride left on the next plane. It was the shortest honeymoon the lodge had ever seen, 2 whole hours. So how do you get from fish love to true love? Here we'll turn to Getting the Love You Want, a book by husband and wife team Harville Hendricks and Helen LaKelly Hunt. They don't call it fish love and true love. They call it power struggle and conscious relationship. But it's the same thing, getting from a self-centered love to a mutual love. They start the book with an overview of how the brain works. There's the old brain made up of the brain stem and the limbic system, and the new brain made up of the neocortex. The old brain exists in a timeless state where the past is the present, and every time your parents or early childhood caregivers failed to make everything better when you cried, or shut down a part of you that they or society didn't like, it left an everlasting wound in yourself. When it comes time to look for a mate, you are most attracted to someone who has all the characteristics of your early childhood caregivers. Only some are you're consciously aware of, and some contradictions are unconscious. They reside in your unconscious mind, but you're not aware of them. So you're marrying a duplicate or committing to a duplicate of your childhood caregivers, of your parents. This image of your caregivers that you carry with you is known as the imago. The fact that you've chosen your mate to match this imago means that there's the potential opportunity for healing all your childhood wounds. In romantic love, you're just aware of the positive qualities of your mate, and it's a euphoric and giddy time. Thank you, Beth. Then you make a commitment to each other. And now you're convinced that you're going to get all the single-minded love you should have gotten as a baby. The problem is your partner feels the same way. Soon things have dissolved into a power struggle, and you're both unhappy. To work your way out of the power struggle, a deep recognition that you're different people with different thoughts and experiences, and that neither of you can read each other's minds is necessary. This is called differentiation, and it's the first step to mutuality. Once you've grasped the reality of differentiation, you realize that the only way your partner can know your inner reality, past and present, is if you tell them about it. There's no, well, he should know what I'm feeling. It doesn't work like that. None of us are mind readers. For this, Harville and Helen have created an exercise called the Imago Dialogue. It has 3 stages: mirroring, validating, and emphasizing. Mirroring involves the sender communicating their feelings in I language without criticizing the receiver. So you'd say, when you said this, I felt angry, rather than, you really made me angry. It's a big difference. and helps the receiver to listen without getting defensive. The receiver repeats or rephrases what the sender said and then asks, "Is there more about that?" They repeat the sequence until the sender has no more to add and the receiver gets it all right. In validating, the receiver is able to say to the sender, "What you're saying makes sense to me. I can see how you are thinking and why you think that way." So the receiver is acknowledging insight into the inner reality of the sender. The third step of the Imago dialogue is to emphasize with your partner, imagining what they're feeling and asking if you've got it right. In the process, childhood wounds get healed because someone chosen because they are like your childhood caregivers is accepting you and understanding you just as you are. In addition to the Imago dialogue, the couple seeks to reawaken romantic love by flooding your partner with gifts and affectionate acts, some requested by the other partner, some surprises. So flowers and chocolates, doing the dishes 3 nights in a row, all those kinds of presents, some of them surprises, because that reinforces positive reinforcement. And gradually, romantic love is rekindled. At first, the giving of gifts is just a rote act, but over time, it becomes heartfelt. Harville and Helen say, "Love heals all" is a well-known sentiment, and it can. It can even heal the deepest emotional wound of all, the ruptured connection between you and your parents. But it needs to be a specific kind of love. It needs to be a mature, patient love that is free of manipulation and distortion. And it needs to take place within an intimate relationship. Receiving empathy from a friend may be very moving, but it does not reach all the way down into your psyche. In order to heal the painful experiences of the past, you need to receive love from a person whom your unconscious mind has merged with your childhood caregivers. We now regard the Imago dialogue, they say, as being the single most effective tool for creating a conscious relationship. Its power goes far beyond communication. The results, when practiced and integrated, are what all couples yearn for: feeling safe and joyfully connected. This movement from power struggle to conscious relationship, from fish love to true love, becomes a spiritual practice that brings us into connection with what Harville and Helen call the divine, what I would call the universe. Harville and Helen write, "All things are interconnected. No matter where we look, from subatomic particles to neurons to universes, nothing is singular. Nothing is separate. We may sometimes lose our awareness of connection, but that separation is just an illusion. We cannot not be connected. And if our earlier relationships are responsible for our feelings of isolation, then our most intimate relationships are the best way to restore our experience of connection. When we use the word spiritual, we're not giving the word its most common usage, they say. We're not talking about going to church or following the doctrines of a particular religion or attaining a rarefied state of mind through meditation, fasting, or prayer. We're talking instead about a native spirituality, a spirituality that is as much a part of our being as sexuality, a spirituality that is a gift to us the moment we are conceived, a spirituality that we lose sight of in childhood, but that can be reclaimed in adulthood if we learn to heal old wounds and experience joyful connecting. When we regain awareness of our essential inner unity, we make an amazing discovery. We were never cut off from the rest of the world. But it is only when we are in touch with the miracle of our own being that we are free to experience the beauty and complexity of the world. The universe has meaning and purpose, and we experience ourselves as a part of a larger whole. It is our conviction that one of the surest routes to this exalted state of being is a humble path of mutual, selfless caring for one another. I like that phrase, mutual, selfless caring for one another. From fish love to true love, from power struggle to conscious relationship. This becomes a spiritual path when we focus on deeply knowing and understanding the other. This path of mutual selfless caring is the opposite of fish love and power struggle, both of which focus on putting the self first. It makes being a part of a couple a way to truly respect the interconnected web of all being, of which we are a part. To quote the Seventh Unitarian Universalist principle, even conflict becomes a part of this spiritual path, a source of connection and joy. And that's a spiritual alchemy of the highest order. Amen. Ashe. Blessed be. Please turn to hymn number 131. Love will guide us, and rise as you're able in body.